The more desperately you want to lose weight, the harder it is to actually lose it. Today, we're going to be talking about how releasing desperate energy is your secret weapon to achieving your weight loss goals. Welcome to the Fit and Fulfilled Show. If you're a busy professional woman who wants to finally prioritize your health and happiness, this is the place to be. I'm your host, Soraya Russell, certified macronutrition coach, mindset coach, and a lifestyle transformation coach. And each week, I share practical strategies to help you build sustainable habits, boost your energy, and feel confident and strong in your body, all without the stress, burnout, or guilt. Let's dive in. So, this episode is really special to me because a couple months ago, I read a book called Letting Go by David Hawkins. It's all about the law of detachment. It's changed my relationships, how I experience life, how I react to things. And I thought, this same principle can be applied to weight loss to make your journey a lot easier. So I wanted to make an entire episode explaining the law of detachment and how you can apply it to achieve your weight loss goals without feeling so obsessed or frustrated about it. So let me first dive into defining what the law of detachment is and how it works. So the paradox of weight loss is the more desperate you are to lose weight, the more you're basically focused on the fact that you don't have your results. You're focused on not having versus having. And desperation creates stress. And more stress in your mind and in your body is going to increase your cortisol levels. And higher cortisol levels is going to make it much harder to release that extra weight. And when you're hyperfixated and obsessed with results, every small failure feels like a setback because you basically are tying your entire identity and self worth into a result in a timeline. And so if you miss a workout, skip a meal, eat outside of your plan, you feel even more defeated because it's like, wow, this result is so important to me. I'm so obsessed with it. So any small derailment feels like you're losing part of your self-esteem, which we don't want. And when you're hyper attached to something, you make decisions from a place of fear and scarcity versus a place of abundance. Think about a relationship. If you are super attached to a partner, you're obsessed with a partner, which obsession isn't a bad thing. But if you're super attached to them, you make decisions because you don't want them to leave you, right? You don't want them to find someone else. And so you're not doing things from a place of genuineness and love. And that typically leads to them feeling that desperate energy. And what happens? A lot of times the relationship does not work out, right? Same thing with weight loss. When you lead with abundance, right, you're able to achieve that, aka get the relationship and maintain the results, aka maintain the relationship. And so, as far as what detachment actually means, it's not apathy, it's not caring, it's not tying your entire identity and sense of self to an outcome, to people, or to things. It's also allowing emotions to pass through your body without the need to do something about it. Whether that's weight anxiety, stress, boredom, it's detaching from those emotions and not allowing them to control you, but allowing them to just pass through your system naturally without feeling the need to do something to hide from them or suppress them. It's wanting something without feeling like you need it to be worthy or complete. I see this all the time when women, and this used to be me, who are like, when I lose 20 pounds, I will feel this way. When I lose 20 pounds, I will do this. And so because you're so attached to that outcome, you're missing out on doing things now, enjoying your life now, because you feel like I'm not worthy of doing those things until I achieve XYZ result. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have goals. You should, but you should have them without being so fixated and attached to the result itself and the timeline of the result. Because when you detach from that, it comes to you with more ease and without so much friction. A great way to think about it is when you place your value on external things, you lose a bit of yourself when you don't achieve it in the way that you want it to. So, for example, if your goal is to lose 20 pounds in 2 months, right? And you get to 2 months and you've only lost 5 pounds, that's an achievement. That's really good. But if you're attached to that specific result and that specific deadline, you lose self esteem, you lose self confidence because you didn't get to exactly what you felt like you needed to feel worthy and feel complete. So you're basically losing parts of yourself by obsessing over certain outcomes and certain deadlines. Remember that attachment creates resistance and detachment creates ease and flow. So if you want your weight loss goals to come to you with more ease and flow, you have to detach yourself from the outcome. So let's talk about how to do that. First, you want to recognize what current behaviors you have that are attached behaviors. That could look like obsessively getting on the scale for no reason, just to see the number. It could look like saying things to yourself like, I need to lose 20 pounds by this date. Those things are very attached behaviors because the result on the scale is going to determine how you feel that day, whether you realize it or not. You saying, I need to lose 20 pounds by this date is you obsessing and being desperate about this specific result at this specific time to feel this specific way. And then you want to observe how your mood changes based on weight fluctuations, especially if you're someone who's obsessed with the scale. You'll probably notice if you get on the scale and the number is lower, you tend to have a little bit more pep in your step that day, right? You're a little happier, you're a little bit more feeling good about yourself. But if that number is higher, you're a bit more irritable, frustrated, annoyed, easier to snap. And so, if that's something that you experience, that also means that you're very attached because it basically impacts how you operate the entire day. And then you want to identify the emotions behind this attachment. So, if you say you want to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year, what's the emotion that is going to change when you do that? Or that's not going to change when you do that? So, for example, if you're going to be around a lot of family, it could be shame. So, you're avoiding shame because you don't want to feel ashamed when you get around family and you're the same weight or you've gained weight. And so, to avoid shame, you're attaching yourself to this outcome. Maybe you are divorced and your ex husband has a new woman, right? And so you're going to see them around the holidays because you have to bring them around your kids. And so you're avoiding, say, embarrassment because you don't want the new girl to look better than you. And so that's you avoiding embarrassment. So figure out the real emotions that you're trying to avoid or achieve by attaching yourself to this result. And that's going to help you detach a lot more easily. Some common attachment patterns that I found in a lot of women that you might have in your life are all or nothing thinking, scale obsession, timeline obsession. If any of those resonate with you or you know you struggle with those, then you probably have some attachments that we want to work on detaching from. Step two is understanding what you're really seeking. I'm telling you, after working with over 400 professional women, you don't want to lose weight. You want what you believe the weight loss is going to do for you. So that could be that you want more respect at work. That could be that you want to feel more beautiful and be talked to more by, men, women, whatever you like, right? That could be that you want to feel more confident in your clothes. That could be whatever it is, right? And so you want to figure out what you're truly chasing because it's not weight loss. Because if you think about it, in other societies, being overweight, having more fat in your body is attractive. In our society, it tends to be that smaller bodies tend to be the beauty standard. It tends to be, I'm not saying all the time. And so it's not about the weight because if you were in a different society, and being overweight was attractive, you would be trying to lose weight. Let's be honest. And so you're not chasing the weight, you're chasing what you think achieving that is going to do for your status in society and how you'll be treated. So you got to figure out the thing that you're actually wanting to achieve by saying that you want to lose weight. That could be confidence, energy, love, like romantic or platonic, health, acceptance, right? So think about what that is for you that you truly want. And the beauty of this is that you can feel that way now. When you're always seeking external validation, you will never fully feel at peace and you'll never fully feel that emotion. So you might lose weight and find a partner, but you're always still going to feel insecure in that relationship because here's what's going to happen. You're going to think, this person loves me. I found the love of my life. Great. But if I regain the weight, will they still love me? If I stop doing these habits, will they still love me? So you're still thinking from a place of fear and scarcity because you're focusing on outside validation and a certain result being the thing that makes you worthy of love, acceptance, whatever that looks like. So now that we've identified our attachment patterns and understood what we're really seeking, now we want to practice the letting go technique. So essentially what this looks like, and I know it might sound a little cheesy, but I'm telling you, it works. When you experience a negative emotion, whether that is weight anxiety, stress, boredom, instead of trying to hide from it, I want you to sit with it and let it pass through you. What I see happen, for example, is say you're scrolling on TikTok or Instagram and you're seeing all these women, they're losing weight, eating healthy, getting in shape. The first thing you do is like, oh, well, I got to go for a walk. I'm going to go do a quick workout, a quick ab session. I'm going to go make some healthy food. And that's not really sustainable because you're not doing it because you generally want to change your habits. In that moment, you're trying to avoid feeling anxiety, trying to avoid feeling unworthy, trying to avoid feeling like you're not good enough. So you're looking for a quick thing to say, oh, well, I'm going to start doing this now. right? That's not really solving the problem. But if you take a moment to sit with and understand, what emotion am I feeling right now? That could be weight anxiety. Sit with it, accept that it's there. Don't try to do anything about it. Don't try to eat. Don't try to drink. Don't try to overexercise. Sit with it and let it pass through your system. I promise you that every emotion you have will run out at some point. It's not there forever. If you think about whatever it is, grief, sadness, losing someone, we always move on. And so what happens is, when you do things like emotionally eat when you're stressed, you're eating to avoid the feeling of being stressed. And then once you're done eating, guess what? You're still stressed. The food doesn't really solve the problem. And so by you sitting with things and letting them go and surrendering to them, you allow that emotion to pass through you without feeling the need to do something that's going to end up sabotaging what you really want. Right. And so this technique is very important because it allows you to have more discipline and self control. You're human. We all have negative emotions. It's part of being human. But those who get to where they want to be understand they have negative emotions and don't feel the need to do something about it all the time. They let it be there, they let it pass through, and they move on. The fourth thing you want to do is focus on the process and not necessarily outcome. Something I always say is that if you focus on the actions, the results will come. But if you're hyper fixated and obsessed with the results, you're not focusing on the actions, hence the result may never come. And the irony of this is that when you detach yourself from future, you're able to be more present in the moment. So if you're hyper obsessed with losing 20 pounds, you're not really seeing the day to day things that need to be done. But if you detach from the result of losing the 20 pounds, you have more mental energy to say, I'm getting up, I'm drinking my water, I'm doing my workout, I'm going for my walk, I'm prepping my food. So you have the mental energy to be present to do the day to day things that end up leading to the end result. And then when you get there, it just feels like a cherry on top versus the only thing that mattered because you were in the present focusing on the day to day actions. Number five, embrace already having energy. One of the best things I did for myself is, instead of focusing on the things I needed to do to lose weight, I focused on who I needed to become to lose weight. When you do this, it makes a world of a difference because if you're only focused on the things to do, you're going to be choosing the restrictive things, the things that are not sustainable, cutting out carbs, eating low calorie, working out every single day of the week, doing 20,000 steps, right? Because you're like, I got to get to this end result. But if you focus on the who do I want to become? I want to become a woman with a healthy relationship with food. I want to become a woman where exercise is a natural part of my lifestyle. When you focus on the who and the identity creates the results because when you have that identity, the actions get done. Like no matter how you feel, if you're stressed, sad, or bored. And so that's what's going to lead to longevity. Because when you try to focus on the actions and you're not really a changed person, you're going to quit. You're going to self sabotage because that's not really who you are. But when you focus on becoming the woman you want to be, the actions are going to follow that. So focus on already having energy. I'm already the person who has a healthy relationship with food. And then you'll start taking the actions of someone who has a healthy relationship with food. So, some common attachment mistakes to avoid is number one, assuming detachment means apathy, like you don't care. This is not true because what happens is detachment just means that you are not obsessing over an outcome. You're not tying your self worth to an outcome. And when you do that, you create more space for the outcome to happen with less friction and with more ease. So, detaching doesn't mean that you don't care. It just means that you're not tying your entire existence to this specific weight loss goal happening at this specific time. The second mistake I see is using detachment as a manipulation tool. So if you're listening to this right now and you're saying, okay, Soraya, I'm going to practice this because that's going to help me lose weight faster, you're missing the whole point, girl. You're missing the point. The point of this is to have a better experience in life and be more present, which leads to the outcome. But if you're only wanting to do it to get to the outcome faster, you're still operating from a bit of obsession and desperation, but you're just trying to take a loophole. Stop trying to take the fast track and the loophole and actually focus on detaching from those results. The third mistake is giving up when you don't see immediate results. And I'm not talking about with weight loss specifically, I'm talking about with the letting go technique. So the first time you try what I'm saying when you're feeling a negative emotion and you sit with it, it's not just going to go away in 5 minutes, right? You're new to this. So you still might feel stressed after sitting there. But the goal is to practice and get more comfortable with feeling negative emotions and not feeling the need to always do something about it. That takes practice. So don't assume the first time you do it, you're going to be the master of the law of detachment. It takes practice and it takes time. And as you do it consistently, you're going to be better at letting go without feeling the need to find an outlet. Remember that the law of detachment is not about giving up on your goals, it's about removing the barriers and friction to help those goals come to you with more ease. The weight that you lose from a place of self love and detachment is weight that actually stays off for the rest of your life. So, thank you so much for tuning into the Fit and Fulfilled show today. I hope you walked away with actionable strategies you can start using to feel more confident, energized, and fulfilled in your personal and professional life. And if you found this episode helpful in any way, please do me a favor and subscribe and let me know what you enjoyed most. It helps other busy professional women discover these strategies so they can also start thriving in their own lives. And if you want to achieve your health and wellness goals and lasting weight loss, I would love to invite you to apply for our program, the Fit and Fulfilled Academy. In our program, we provide the guidance, support, and coaching you need with nutrition, fitness, and mindset, specifically things like this, that you can achieve lasting weight loss. All the details are down below. Next week, we're going to dive into a brand new topic that you're not going to want to miss. But until then, remember you deserve to feel as confident in your body as you do in your career. Take care.